Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Conceptual Thinkers Talk Primary Math Concept with Teacher Ben. So today we'll be looking at P6 Aitong 2023 Prelim Paper 2 Question 16. So now this question is actually a popular question in the past. So I think it's interesting to revisit this question again so that you can able to do them during your test and exam. So let's look at the question now. I'll be using our center point methodology to solve this question. So let's start with interpreting the question. Now, Ms Wong received $6,120 from selling some bags and some dresses. Now, she received $3,240 more for the bags than the dresses. Now, 4 times as many bags as dresses were sold. So each dress cost $15 more than each bag. So how much did Ms Wong receive for the bags, and also how many dresses did Ms Wong sell? Now there's a few key phrases that I need to highlight here. So first, they will tell you the total amount received. Okay, so this is a very important information that will help us to understand what kind of concept they're trying to test us. So the second thing that they also tell you is the total difference. The total difference in terms of amount. Received by each category. So here the category that I'm referring to will be the bags and the dresses. Okay, they will tell you the total difference. Now next thing that they will mention also, they will mention about the quantity, but it's in terms of units. In units. So in case for this phrase here, they say 4 times as many bags as dresses. So they tell you the quantity in terms of units. Then the last thing that they will mention is what we call the individual amount. So individual amount they refer here is you see $15 more than each bag. They may not tell you in terms of the, like maybe each dress will be what's the cost, then what's the cost of each bag. They may not tell you in this way, but they do tell you in terms of like the difference of individual amount. Okay, so once you have these 4 information, right, we are pretty clear that they're trying to test us on the concept called set, or we call grouping. Yeah, this is how we actually able to identify the concept. So with this, then we can continue and solve the question and implement the methodology to do it. So for part A, now they ask how much did Ms Wong receive for the bags. So let's draw a model so that you can visualize what it means. Okay, now we do know that the amount received for the bags will be more than the amount received for the dresses. So what we can do is we can draw a model to show that the amount received by the bags, which means the model for the bags will be longer. So let me just do it here. So I'm looking at the total amount. So I usually will write what is the model that I'm drawing. So I will have bags, then I will have dress. So the amount will be longer for the bags, then the amount for the dress will be shorter. And we do know that the total amount here will be $6,120, and the difference will be $3,240. Okay, now so for part A, they want to know what will be the total amount received for the bags. So it's pretty easy. What we do is we can take $6,120. Now I can either add, which means that I increase the total amount of the dress to become the amount of the bags. But usually in school, the teacher will prefer to teach them by using subtraction. So we reduce the amount of money for the bags to become the total amount of money for the dresses, so that we have 2 equal parts. So let's do this so that it's easier for most of the students to understand. So I'm going to minus, so I'm using a calculator because this is a paper 2 question. 10. So I'm going to get $2,880. So this will give me 2 equal parts because I'm getting rid of my extra $3,240. So next I will do is I will divide it by 2. So I'll divide by 2. So I should get $1,440. Now this will give me the total amount for the dress. So I use AMT to represent amount. So this is for the dress. So I want to find for the bag. So what I do is I take $1,440. I add in $3,240. So when I add 3240, so I should get $4,680, which is the total amount of money for the bags. So this will be the answer for part A. Now, for this question, we do need the total amount of money for the dress. So by doing this extra step is actually useful for our part B calculation. So it's okay to actually do this step. But let's say that the question is only asking for the total amount of money received for the bags, then I will just prefer to do addition and divide by 2. It will be easier. Okay, so now let's look at part B. Now, a lot of students able to do part A but can't do part B. The reason is because when you do your comparison, they can't compare because the quantity is different. If you look at what they mentioned here, they did say that it's 4 times in terms of quantity for the bags, and it's only 1 times for the 1 unit for the dress. So what we do is we need to compare them using the same quantity. So what we need to do is we need to look at them in terms of 1 unit. So 1 unit of dress, the amount will be exactly $1,440. But if you look at 1 unit of bags, now in this amount of money here is based on 4 units. This is actually 4 units. So this is actually 1 unit. So we need to divide by 4. So let me divide by 4. I should get $1,170. So now we have the same quantity. So this, if I look at the difference between the dress and the bags, I'm comparing them with the same quantity. Okay, so with this I can continue and solve the question. So what I do is I look at what is the total difference in 1 unit. So to do that, I just take $1,440. I minus away $1,170. So let's do a subtraction. So I will get $270. Okay, now we do have one more information, which is $15. Now this is based on if I compare 1 bag and 1 dress. Okay, now here we have a quantity of 1 unit. So if I take 270, I divide it by 15, that will be able to give me the number of bags or dress in terms of 1 unit. So let's look at quantity in 1 unit. So what I'm going to do is I take 270, I divide by $15. Now some students will ask me, so why I take dollars and divide by dollars? So what I'm doing here is I'm doing by grouping. I see how many groups of $15 I can create from that $270. So that will give me the quantity also. So I take 270, I divide by 15, so I will get 18. Okay, now if you look at the question, they are asking for dresses, and dresses is actually 1 unit. So that's why the answer for this will be 18. So from here onwards, once you get the quantity for 1 unit, some question will make it more complicated by asking maybe what is the quantity of for the bags. So total quantity that she sold for the bag. So you have to do one more step. Yeah, or they will ask, oh, what will be the amount for the address? So what will be the amount for each bag? So the question can actually change to various type. But our objective is always want to find what is the quantity in 1 unit. Okay, so I would say that this question is slightly easier because they don't require us to do more things to find out what, like for example, the quantity for the bags or the cost for each bag or each dress. Okay, next we will try to inspect our solution. So there's a few things I'm going to do here. So I'm going to find out what is the cost of 1 dress. So to get the cost of 1 dress, what I do is I take the total amount of money for 1 unit of dress. I'm going to divide by 18. So let's see what will be the amount. 140 $1,440 divided by 18. So I'll get the value as 80. So one dress will cost $80. So let's calculate what is the cost of one bag. So it will be $80 minus away $15. So I'm gonna get $65 because they say that dress costs $15 more than the bag. Okay, so now next let's find out what will be the total amount in terms of the 1 unit of dress and also 4 units of bags. So 1 unit of dress is actually able to calculate, because we do a calculation using this, so we already have it, so I will not do any calculation for this. So my bag will be the one that actually help me to see whether my answer makes sense. So I'm going to look at what is the quantity in terms of 4 units. So we know that 18 is 1 unit. I multiply by 4. So I'm going to take 18 times 4. So I'm going to get 72. So I can calculate what is the cost of 4 units of bags. So that will be 4 times, 72. I'm going to take 72. Then we multiply with $65. So 72 times 65, I'm going to get $4,680. So it actually matched to my total here. Okay, so the last calculation, what I can do is I can just take these two add up, and you will notice that I will reach to $6,120. So which means that my calculation actually makes sense when I get my answer as my 1 unit as 18. So this is the way that I will do my tracking for this question. Now this is how we actually use our Center for I methodology to solve the question. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's actually a popular question, so I do expect most of the school will actually try to set this question in their prelims to test their students so that they are ready for PSLE. So please try to do this question on your own without looking at the solution. Then see whether you are able to do up the steps. Then you refer to the video again to look at how the answer and the steps to solve the question. So that's all for this video. I will see you in the next episode. Bye.